Hello, what we're going to show today is the best way to take off this radiator and how we're going to deal with this thermostatic radiator valve once it has been disconnected. Now we're going to disconnect the radiator from the system. But in this instance we're not going to drain the water out of the radiator, we're going to take the radiator off with the water still inside. The advantages of that are you don't lose your inhibitors, you don't have to refill the system when you put the radiator back. So what you do is you isolate your radiator by turning down your valves both ends of the radiator, make sure they're fully clockwise down. Then pick up your air vent key, go to your bleed valve at the top of your radiator and open it up and release any excess pressure. Once that's been done, it's very important that you close that valve back off. Then we pick up a 1 rad clamp and screw it on the bottom corner of the radiator, like that. Then take the guide rod and slide it through the block, which is a hole going all the way through it, and slide it fully to the right. That's ready now. Now the next thing we need to do is undo the union that's holding the valve to the radiator. So we're going to use the rad wrench and the rad spanner to do that. Simply grip the valve with the rad wrench and slacken off the nuts that's connecting the valve to the radiator. Now if you notice, there's not a lot of water coming out at the moment because there's a vacuum in the radiator. That's why it's so important to close that valve off. Now we're going to use the rad seal, the rad clamp seal, and it's going to insert between the valve and the tailpiece very quickly. Now just quickly pull it away and insert it in. Now we lost a few drops there, but it's nothing dramatic. We've got the cloth here to soak that up. Next thing is to slide the guide rod up to the fork and then give it half a turn to engage it, and then push the whole guide rod and fork that way so it stretches over the back, and then tighten up the pinch bolt there like that. Now as you can see now, that's holding the water inside the radiator ready to be taken off. Now just to show that there is actual water in the radiator, I'm going to release this a little bit. And you'll see the water coming out there. And if you undo the air vent valve at the top, you'll see the water coming out. That's why it's so important to close that off. I'm going to re-close it off again. That's closed. And then reconnect the seal. So that's sealed up again. I'm just going to show you how quickly it is to reconnect once you put the radiator back. How quickly it is to reconnect it back into the system. Just undo the pinch bolt, quickly pull the seal out of the way and push it over. Pull it out and then tighten your union up back onto the valve, and that's it, reconnected with the water still inside. Use your rad wrench and your rad spanner to retighten. Now we're going to move on to the next stage. Right, as you can see now, the radiator's off the wall, the rad clamps have been fitted to both sides, the water's clamped in the radiator. And I recommend, like this, you sit the radiator in a couple of blocks. That'll protect your floor coverings. If you're going to remove a radiator like this, I suggest you get help, because they can be quite heavy, so be warned about that. The next thing I'm going to show you, of course, is the thermostatic radiator valve over there at this end. What we're going to do that to make sure that does not start leaking and cause further problems. Now we're at the final stage now. The radiator is taken off and sat on the other side of the room waiting to go back. and we've got this thermostatic radiator valve with an open end. Now the problem with these is if the temperature drops, the valve is designed to open, and then you'll have water passing out of here and causing an unnecessarily flood and damage. Also the head can get accidentally knocked and open the valve. So you can actually buy screwed caps which will go on the end of here, but sometimes you can have problems with threads and getting them to seal, etc. So what we're going to use is a rad valve clamp, and this is a universal clamp which will go over the end of the on the outlet here and positively prevent it from causing any problem. And if you can see there, this pipe is actually alive. So I'm going to fit the rad valve clamp over it. It's very simple, it just goes over like that, and there's a nice thick rubber washer which screws on the end over the outlet. Just put it on like that, screws on, and there you go, that's it sealed. Now just to show you, I'll open the valve, and as you can see, it's completely preventing the water from coming out. And these are universal, like I say, they'll fit on all types of valves. And if you want to see a close up of it there, that's the rubber washer there. It's clamped around the body and clamped on the outlet of the valve there, which will make sure you get no unnecessary floods or whatever. So there you go, that's the best way to take a radiator off and to do with a thermostatic radiator valve. Thanks for watching.